What's up guys? Today we are visiting our dear friend Stefan Klasen. You may remember him from this insane creation. We drove this car a couple of months ago, the 1000 horsepower twin turbocharged Audi R8 V10 Plus. It is probably the craziest car we've ever driven. It runs insanely well. It is ridiculously fast and super cool. We also drove two Audi RS6s with a single turbo conversion kit from Stefan Klasen. And today we are here with our friend, subscriber Marco with his RS6, and he is going to get a software remap, and he has recently done a carbon fiber air intake and a Guerrilla exhaust, completely open, catless, two 3-inch pipes straight to the back with a couple of valves. So today we are going to see what we can get from this RS6, and then we'll take it to the Autobahn to drive it.
Yeah, today you came with a car which was already modified before. We started it with an initial power run on the dyno to see how it was tuned before. It was not bad, to be fair. Was a little bit low on torque, but the top end power was okay. And I also data logged all the values on the first power run because I wanted to see if there's more to come on the top end, because most times the turbos, they do what they can do on the top end. So the software, the boost demand was something around 2 bar on the top end, and the turbos, they can deliver something around 1.8, 1.9 at 6,000 RPM, then down to 7,000 RPM it goes down to 1.6 bar, because then the turbos are just limited. So I knew before, when I do my tune, I can do a little bit more torque and maybe a few horsepower on the top end, but there was not so much more to come because the turbos were on its limit already. The main problem on the RS6 is the exhaust manifolds, because they're really tiny. I can show you later. And other problem is the charge cooling system, because that's always a problem on the Audi cars. They never got the charge cooling right. It's really bad charge cooling compared to BMW, for example, which is close to perfect. Yeah. The engine, the bottom end is really strong. So when we do our single turbo conversions, the bottom end stays completely standard. So rods and pistons are really strong. And the valve train is also not bad. We just modify the exhaust valve springs, so because otherwise they get floating on high back pressure. That's the only thing we change. And on these cars it makes no sense to, in my opinion, makes no sense to put bigger turbos on, bigger turbos which are based on the standard turbos, because the main problem is back pressure. And when you have too much back pressure, then the exhaust valves, they are kept open and you get misfiring on, it starts on cylinder 5 and then you get misfiring on several cylinders, and that's just because of back pressure. Yeah. When you do just the stage 1, it's more a problem, because then you have, with the standard exhaust, you have even more back pressure. And on cars where you have a downpipe inside and a big free-flowing exhaust, it's not that a problem. But once you put bigger turbos on, you run into this problem. Yeah. Yeah, we just do the software because, in my opinion, the transmission really is bulletproof. It's really strong transmission, and from the factory I know they ran it with 1000 Newton meters already, so it's really strong. And we did some cars with up to 1100, 1200 Newton meters. And yeah, the only problems we had on the drivetrain was a broken rear differential, and even the drive shafts are quite strong now. On the pre-facelift versions you had hollow drive shafts on the rear. Sometimes they got bended, and then with the facelift models you got solid drive shafts. They are smaller, but they are solid, so they can twist a little bit, and no problems at all there. When you don't do the transmission software, it's just limiting the torque. You can see it in the torque curve. On most cars you have an overboost on the bottom, and then it's just dropping the torque, and then it comes again. That's because of torque limitations from the transmission. Yeah. When you remove the torque limitations from the transmission, then you see that the torque curve is much smoother than before. The single turbo conversion, it's a compromise, yeah, between the available space in the engine room and the manifolds. We don't want to use the standard manifolds, so we have our own cassette ones, which have much more area and flow. I can show you here. For example, this manifold here is that's a standard manifold where we remove the heat shield around it, and you can see it's really tiny. So it's when you measure it here and you compare it to a round cylinder, it's 27 mil for 2 cylinders. So it's really tiny. It's a really good solution for bottom end response and bottom end torque, but on high RPM it gets a really big problem because you can't get rid of the exhaust gas and you have a lot of back pressure in the cylinder. So even when you have a cam overlap, and when the exhaust gas is pushed out and the fresh air comes in, you still have a lot, because of the back pressure, you have a lot exhaust gas flowing back into the engine, which is causing detonation, and you can't run high ignition advance, and it's causing high EGTs as well. Yeah, that's really a problem with the manifolds. So we did our own manifolds. Yeah, these ones here. There's stainless steel cassette ones. So we put 2 manifolds on, and then we make a pipe work which goes together, where we put a single turbo in the middle, and yeah, that's a quite good solution. Of course you lose top end response, bottom end response, but because we have so much more power on the top end, you have a nice ref band, power band, which you can use. And we do a complete remap on the transmission control unit, so we have different shift points, and it's always in the area where it has full power. I mean, these cars, they are for the straight line, for the autobahn. They are not for a track. For a track, when I would use this car on the track, I would prefer the standard turbos because of the response. But when I go in a straight line, single turbo conversion is just like a rocket. Yeah, today we were doing a little bit over 1000 Newton meters and 700 horsepower. We have a nice torque curve, and the response is still really good. And you can see on the graph on the top end it's running a little bit more smoothly. I think that's because of fueling and ignition advance timing. Yeah. So you should feel a good difference on the road. It's over 100 Newton meters more in the mid-range.